Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Friday, December 29th, right? 30, 31, yeah, 29th. And I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a great weekend, or, well, you're getting ready to have a great weekend. Maybe you already are, since some people may be on a holiday break still, particularly the children, but maybe you are too. And in that case, I hope you are enjoying your rest and leisure time and whatever else you dare to do at the close of this holiday season, right? Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. So let's see where we at. Oh, okay. Ace of Cups. Let's just go ahead and take that one on out. There's the waterfall I was looking for yesterday. Right. Ace of Cups. I mean, you know, Ace. What can I say about the Ace of Cups? It's unconditional love. Total spiritual fulfillment. What else? It's just being completely satisfied emotionally. And the origins, of course, as with all the aces, is from an ethereal essence, or God, universal, angelic, perhaps, you know. So it has a come from that is sustainable and very substantive, if that's a word. You know, it's not fleeting. It's a great deal of substance that is. It's like regenerative. There it is, like a regenerative emotional fulfillment, where it's like no bad days. That's what I hear just now. Like just always filled up. No matter what's going on in life, your tank is always on F. You know, like always full in a good way. So that's a wonderful way to start. Let's see where we go with this. I'm sure there's more I could say, but oof, star, come on, spirit, come through. I'm gonna just give it room. I don't know where this spread is going, but star card is healing. Definitely would be a derivative of the Ace of Cups when you are accepting of that divine fulfillment, to be nurtured from, or at least have the aspiration to be nurtured from a spiritual perspective first, or spiritual essence first before anything, like that being the source of all, and that filtering in a space of healing and almost like ushering you into purpose. And they kind of work hand in hand to some degree, because when you're a yes to healing and wholeness and fulfillment, spiritual fulfillment, it spills into what you like, how you express that energy day to day. You know, it kind of like shines from the inside out. It directs the things that you do, how you talk, how you carry yourself. Like you kind of become a beam of light in your own special way, because of the source that you're tapping into. Literally pouring out from both hands, like having so much. There it is, like having so much to give. Like I said, always on full, never empty. This is not celebrity. This is star power. You know, where what you do for a living, for fun, for creativity, for leisure, you know what I mean, for a partner, in a professional way, like everything has purpose, everything has meaning, everything adds value to your existence and you add value to it. Like there's just a continuous exchange of life force to again, like consider when you're doing the things that you love and all that other stuff I just said, life is just a flow. You know, there's no real resistance. What would be the cause for it? You know, when you're intentional about aligning with the things that keep you fulfilled, keep you happy, keep you at peace, hopeful, faithful, healed, always looking forward to healing and expanding more or elevating more. What's there to lack or to be desired? You can be in the present moment with where you are now and be happy about it, even as you have an expectation for a continuous flow, because that's what the Ace of Cups is. It never stops. You know, ooh, you saw how that popped out? Interesting. That was interesting. I wish I could do an instant replay on that. You can, but I can't. Ooh. And here's that adverse energy wanting to snatch you back to some dark abyss because you're just shining a little bit too bright, a little bit too happy, a little bit too loving, a little bit too hopeful for its liking. And we can look at this as like an external oppositional force or forces, or we could look at it as an internal force, which may be one and the same, that would want to try to creep back up and challenge the points of your healing and happiness that have already been nurtured, you know, like to create a force of opposition and question. And again, internally, it could be more, I'd rather give it more relevance internally than anything, because that's the way the external forces latch on. If there's like no vulnerability really there to attach to internally, it makes it really hard for these energies to even pierce, you know, that territory of your healing, of your happiness and wholeness. It's like there's nothing for them to really grab onto. So I would definitely say forthright to just keep seeing yourself as exalted, you know, because like I said, the energy within that would be vulnerable to anything without is literally that operative word, to be without, to feel lacking in some way, shape, or form, that you're not holistically the star that you have been, you know, that you don't measure up to the star that you feel you've been cultivating to be, been cultivated to be, been called to be, that there will be some question in the psyche or in the spirit as to if you really, truly do, like if you can really light a candle to yourself, your supreme self at that. Like, is it real? Are you really able to not just measure up, but sustain that star power? Not unlike celebrity to some degree, and that probably is the confrontation here. Even one that would want to compel you to compare yourself to others in that way that sometimes celebrity influences, where, you know, there's a certain limitation to success, you know, and the splendor of creativity as it is, like to be kind of constricted to a box or a ceiling of your potential. That's the confrontation here. Like, how dare you think that you're unlimited? And perhaps, again, internally, a confrontation with self that maybe you might be delusional to think that you should be or should think that you are, and maybe start looking for evidence to prove what's already been proven in spirit and in truth. Yeah, you can resist that temptation right there. You don't need any more receipts. You know. And you know how you know? It's in how you feel about where you are right now. That peacefulness, that contentment. And I know this is real because I literally was just praying about this before I pushed record. Just really being thankful for this present moment. And you may or may not believe me that was my prayer before I started, but it really is, to just be able to be myself unapologetically. And I literally said, like, to really not have much of anything or anyone to truly answer to right now. Like, I'm not in competition with anything or anyone. I'm not feeling devout or subservient to anything or anyone, indebted to anything or anyone. I'm not feeling beholden to any agenda or anyone. I feel truly free to really just be myself, and to do what makes me happy. And I even prayed that even as I gear up to really aggressively pursue some ambitions of my own, that it would still be in that vein, that it would always still be on my own terms between myself and my supreme source and self, that it still wouldn't be, that it would still always be that dedication and devotion there, that I would never feel like I'm having to do anything in particular that I wouldn't choose to do otherwise, even in the way of work, so-called, or in the way of responsibility, that it still would feel like a choice, never with my hands tied behind my back. Would I want to do anything in particular, So, this adverse energy would want to make you feel a certain anxiety or, like to feel like you just may be out of step because you're not aggressively pursuing anything in particular, specifically at this time. And this makes sense given it's the end of the year where people really like to feel like, they're revving up the machine for a powerful, fresh start. And this is you just pouring out naturally as you feel guided to and being filled right back up again. I feel like that's how nature intended it. And everything else that compels us otherwise, though it may seem like the status quo and the convention and the way, it actually is not. I'm not going to take that because that's too much, but let's see what that is. Or, it can be for some. Yeah, like, look at this. It can be for some. But look, it's like for the stability and harmony and balance that is objectified, particularly in society. It's so, like, this energy is feeling like it's getting away with it to some degree, but it's like, that's not even the way to it. You know what I mean? It's just like we almost fool ourselves following this false light that's been, a beacon for us in society to get to a certain thing, a certain security or stability, when it actually is quite honestly leading us in the opposite direction, or leading us by a way that doesn't secure that thing at all. It might secure the semblance of it, the appearance of it. Sometimes I even see this as like a happy home from a distance, but when you get close up, it's like, what's really going on behind the scenes? What did you really have to do to get that home, to get what's really going on in that relationship? Is it as happy as it appears? Is it as fruitful as it's perceived to be? you know, all of that, you know what I mean? It's just like really confronting the truth of our ambitions and our means of achieving them. Oh, and it came out again. Lord, isn't that interesting? But without all the extra, right? That's one thing. All right, so we got the King of Wands that's facing the Devil. It's like, but I feel like it's a face-off. It's like a head-on, like just like almost facing my demons. Interesting. And also protecting the interest of this stability. And didn't I just say that? Like really confronting the truth of our ambitions and our means of achieving them. I literally just said that, and that's kind of what this is given right here. The King of Wands facing that dark nature, that carnal nature, even it's his own limitations as they've been projected through him and to him. Again, recognizing that it's more internal than external. So really like facing what is the truth of his power, his confidence, his creativity is all what the King of Wands represents. And whatever limitations he has submitted to of all of that, that might cause a threat, I would say, because his own, like I said, it feels protective here, that might cause a threat to this achievement of stability and security. And like, let's say like the American dream is what this is representing here, whatever that means for whomever it means, you know, but that ultimate expression of personal success. Interesting. All right, let's see what else we got here. Ace of Swords. I like that confirmation. So this is amazing here, right up under that star, back to what I was saying about validating yourself. And now here is Spirit to validate you so that you can keep this Ace of Swords in your back pocket when those thoughts of opposition or challenge, of fear even perhaps, should arise, to revert back to the truth of how you've already been confirmed and affirmed in the spirit. You don't need to confirm yourself outside of that. You don't need anybody else to say you're doing a great job or yeah, you're on the right track. Hell, you don't even really need to have actual physical evidence in this very moment of that, like tangible, measurable essence. It's about the spirit of the knowing at this time. Your emotional intelligence. How do you feel getting up in the morning? How do you feel once your day is done? And everything in between. Are you feeling accomplished and self-assured just in doing your laundry? You know what I mean? Just in taking care of your children, just in keeping your house clean, being available for those and to those that value you and appreciate you, and whatever exchange that looks like, doing the things that you love, expressing your personal creativity, performing to excellence even in a professional setting, you know, but doing it because it comes from a space of appreciation and choice for where you are, you know, not from obligation. All of that is affirming. All of it. Not how much money you make doing what you do, not how many hours you put in, not how little time you sleep, Not how much you work out per se, you know, not how big the house is, how grand or new the car is, not even what's in your savings, none of that. It's like there's no coins on this board. It's spirit, truth, and power on the board right now. So let's see. So we got the Six of Swords, which is now, and take look and look at the difference between this. This Knight of Swords is like aggressive, entitlement, like literally going in two directions. Sometimes I don't really know what to make of the Knight of Swords. In the upright is definitely like being very assertive, I would say. But followed by the devil and having come out with the devil, it gives me all of the lower vibrations that I usually ascribe to it, which is just over ambition, aggression, fury to some degree, entitlement. Yeah, like all of that. And then meanwhile, here is this more peaceful crossover. This is like forcing your way into an outcome or into an experience, or to almost apprehend something as yours. And in this case, it doesn't feel like the entitlement is justified. And then here, as I just spoke of, all those things that seem a bit more passive than aggressive to some degree in life are exactly the things that are causing the forward movement, that are pushing your energy, perhaps even your actual being, into an experience of life that is far more peaceful and calm and stable and secure and all of that good stuff, but just not in the ways that is conventionally upheld to be so. You know, it's actually doing something very unconventional by societal standards or by the status quo that ultimately affords you this safe passageway to a place where you can truly be self, you know, unapologetically. And that doesn't have to be physical, but with the Six of Swords, there is movement. It's interesting that the Knight of Swords is going one way and the Six of Swords is going another. So there definitely is an implication of transportation here, you know, maybe perhaps physically moving from one opportunity to another. But I would say with the sword energy, is one mentality, like one mindset to another, which makes all the difference, right? When you're looking to materialize something very tangible, it comes from the spiritual and mental cultivation first and foremost, as we know. Anybody that fills me in this knows, you know. So in some ways I may be preaching to the choir, which is why I'm like wondering why I'm saying all this, but perhaps we just need to be reminded in the event that any challenge may arise to try to sway you otherwise, you know, or to confuse you otherwise. Yeah, exactly. With the Nine of Wands, to put you almost in some mental or energetic instability, like you don't know where you're going, let alone like you don't know where you are, you know. But see where that's fallen under yet again. But that dense energy, this is what keeps us in this place of immobility, is what it feels like with the Nine of Wands. It's like it's almost the close. It's like the end of the end of a cycle. Almost, well, the close of the cycle, almost the end with the Ten of Wands, but there's still a choice that's held on to here in the ways that I see it in the lower vibration, to almost be a victim of your experiences to some degree, of your circumstances even, or to feel victimized. The Wounded Warrior card, like like life has beat you down and you don't have much to show for it, is the energy of the Nine of Wands. And that's exactly what I was saying about case in point, what can attach to you from the external. This is the energy that is like prime rib to darker opposition from the outside in. Like, oh, you feeling pitiful, eh? You're not appreciative of where you are right now? Well, let me give you some more reasons as to why you should feel sorry for yourself, why you should be mad at the world, why you should loathe your past experiences, why you should maybe even hate yourself a little bit for the experiences that you've incurred. Why you should keep looking back and don't even think about any potential hope or faith for the future. Like, what is that? You know what I mean? Cross over into what? Peaceful, calmer water is like, what is that? Why do you deserve that? Does that even exist? Like, these are the things, try to play with your head, keep you stuck in one place and not in a good place. Seven of Wands. Like the world is you against the world is this energy here. Now on a higher vibration, it doubles down on the protective energy of the King of Wands, which is a good thing, to stand your ground, to ground yourself in the first place on what you know to be true and what you value, and on your own energetic force, like taking pride and security in what you can do for yourself, what you know of yourself to be your highest potential to some degree, especially with the King of Wands. But coming off of the Nine of Wands, it's like a breakout moment, even though it almost appears to be a regression from the 9 to the 7. But the posture is more forwarding, I would say. So even in the ways that I say how that translates in the projection of opposition that may want to present to you that you have moved backwards, or you're not moving as forward or as forward quickly as you would like to. This is the invitation to stand your ground on what you know to be true, on what you know you've already accomplished, on what you're capable of creating with any resources at hand, quite honestly. Like, this is the opposition, again, maybe even internally, that would want to push back on your confidence, to make you second guess your own creativity. And I would say definitely still from a mental space, first and foremost, to just really have you second guessing not just what you've done, but your possibilities from this present moment to the future. Like, what are you truly capable and worthy of accomplishing at this point in time? To kind of rear its head as to why you should kind of throw in the towel at this point in time. But it's under the King of Wands, so you're not going to. Even if this stuff should arise, first of all, you're already on guard. You're already, yeah, exactly. It'll expose itself to you as exactly what it, as exactly what nature of presence it's presenting itself to be. I'm trying to find a good word for it, because it's a projection. That's what I'm seeing. It's like, yeah, it may be an internal uprising or an inflection, but the only thing that could truly, really awaken that to call into question is an outside projection of some illusionary perspective. And this is giving me confidence for whomever and however that you're already like at attention and ready for it at this end, like ready for it, ready to protect what you know is of value to you, what you've already established and what is to be established. You're already in a position of you like on guard to some degree for anything that would want to disturb again, this peace, this productivity, prosperity, happiness is the Sun card in its ultimate form. So let's see what else we got here. Let's do one more row. You're already poised to protect your best interest. And of course, the adverse energy doesn't really care for that too much, but look where he is, pinned up in the middle. Like, its back is up against the wall at this point in time. And, you know, if we wanted to look at it by way of, like, say, ego, you know, in its most primitive, practical form, it would just be the inner man of you looking to protect you from potential disappointment, you know, from letting yourself down, or being too ambitious, biting off more than you can chew, being overconfident. That, and of course, that is still an inflection of projection, because where would you get that idea in the first place if it wasn't kind of superimposed, you know, to begin with? But you can transmute that energy so that you don't feel so victimized by it, by receiving it as an intention for protection. But here is the answer to being completely self-assured that you're able to protect yourself without that inflection, you know, without those measures. That your protection, as a matter of fact, is your creativity, is your purest passion, and your life force that's already been affirmed from a spiritual source. You don't need these lower vibrations of fear to create a shield anymore. Maybe once upon a time we did, which is what the crossover moment is about. Like, we needed that protective shield, or we thought we did, you know, to keep us from embarrassing ourselves or stepping out into something that we thought we could do, but, you know, that we failed, or even failure itself, in quotes, has taught us to be protective to some, you know, some extent. But we get to drop all of, we get to drop all of those, drop those boundaries. It's not boundary though. What is that? I guess drop those insecurities to be reinforced with a confidence that is more sustainable. There's the unconditional love, and there's the truth and clarity, like who we really have been loved to be in this realm, like called to be, ordained to be by way of the star, loving all of those aspects of ourselves that may have been either challenged to question before, either externally or internally, finding a high value of love and appreciation for all of it and all of ourselves, so that we don't need to answer to, or like we don't need the stability and security of that false light. There it is, like that this is pure natural light, you know, exposure in the light of day, where, you know, images are pure, not like the moon where it could be distorted. It's like look how this baby is just arms open, living his best life type of energy. It's been hard for us to really aspire to that experience of life, because so much of this density has more or less kept us in the dark, you know, or kept us wanting to hide in our own shadow to some degree, for fear of judgment or fear of misunderstanding, or, you know, failure again, or falling short to some other standard of what success should be. But we don't have to live like that anymore. We can literally just live on our own terms, as I said, and only be answering to your own supreme self. Like, the only thing that would matter, or does matter, is that you're living in the light that is supreme of your reflection. And that's unique to everyone, right? So therefore, it's incomparable by anything or anyone. There's really no need to even truly look around except for entertainment purposes only. But definitely not for any affirmation or motivation, particularly to shine. King of Cups with the Ace of Swords here and the Star. Queen of Pentacles. Yeah. I hear the value of our psychic ambition, or our emotional intelligence. And with the Ace of Swords and the Star, yeah, it's reading psychic. That's why I said that. A certain clairvoyance and vision through our senses, like just knowing what's right, knowing what is prosperous, what is productive, what is invaluable to some degree, and nurturing our gifts, you know, and nurturing those gifts with love and compassion for self. Yeah. Up under the Star and the Ace, I feel like that's definitely confirmation there. And then here's all the energy that's coming from, like, a derivative of this collaborative effort. Which is spiritual support and influence at a very accelerated rate and intensely, like, so that this is really the gateway to that acceleration. You know how it seems to have been kind of like slowly but surely coming along, particularly with the Six of Swords, that when you think about movement across water, there's not much that you can rush about that. You kind of really just have to go with the flow. And then here, the flow, finally, for the first time, is materialized with the Queen of Pentacles, and then accelerated by some power force, even beyond your intentions, beyond your own, you know, physicality. This is like the co-creativity between self and spirit, by way of valuing the internal gifts that express themselves in a material way. This is really like an expression of power, but like, yeah, it's something deep about this. Because the King of Cups is, like I said, is from a psychic nature, like almost supernatural in its own right, derivative of the Ace of Cups. And then, as I said, finally materializing, which hasn't, this is the only coin that's been on the board yet, but even still in the feminine aspect, which is significant for reproduction. So being able to almost continuously produce a power force, so that it's literally the birth of spirit into material form through the natural being, and then accelerated or expanded or intensified by an intangible force that also does and also is materialized energetically. This is like a power, an infusion of power coming from the human being, though, that has been surrendered to this process of, what is it, spiritual devotion, perhaps? Yeah. Interesting. Nine of Swords. high priestess. What's the Nine of Swords about? I need one for the Nine of Swords. Because that throws me for a loop. And the way it kind of just slid out like that. Like, why would there be anxiety for... Now, I spoke about the adverse of this Seven of Wands, which would be someone that feels like it's them against the world. Maybe that's the energy here as well. The anxiety to know that something is coming and that it won't be able, it's not stoppable. With the Eight of Wands. That just seems kind of like random. Like, what is that doing there? Out of all that I've been saying, it feels like that more or less belongs here. Maybe that is the outcome of this energy force here. Because it almost looks like an attack, right? So perhaps that's how it feels for those that have been in less fortified positions, those ones that have been pushing against the evolution of, you know, like I said, me against the world, like they have been pushing against the evolution of creation as it's been ordained to be. Like a flip-flop, a shift, like where this was the oppression and the opposition, that now like the roles have changed or will shift to those that were the oppressors. You see how this energy is pushing up from the Nine of Swords into the Seven of Swords, like almost like this is the energy. And that, okay, and so it's like almost the attack or the shift of that dynamic is happening, like I said, suddenly and without control against it. It's like it's happening for and even from those that have been surrendered to the process or surrendered to spirit a certain type of way. But it feels like it's happening against those that have not. And that's the reason for this anxiety here with the Nine of Swords. That what's happening naturally, what the natural evolution of creation, that one would, you know, I don't know, I guess I can't speak for everyone that it would be exciting for all, but certainly it shouldn't be anything to be in despair about, per se. Why would there be, unless you have some invested interest against it, you know, or have had an invested interest against it. So that's the only thing that really makes sense to me with the Nine of Swords, which makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. But it coming out the way that it did, especially before the High Priestess, is just, maybe that's the revelation that is happening with the High Priestess under the sun. Secrets exposed. like almost nowhere to hide. That's what it's giving me. It's like the high priestess is here, which, you know, we know she's the keeper of divine secrets, but also under the sun, that's the exposure of that, like the truth of divine mother to some degree. Get into that. That has been withheld a great deal. We know that. By a select few who never really expected their power to be challenged in the way that it currently is being, let alone to be extinguished in the way that it's set to be, to meet this, you know, to meet their match ultimately. And it's happening in like almost a sneak attack type of way. Not really, but it's something that even if it was like there's an anxiety here about what's to be, and it's saying to me that even if it could have been foreseen, okay, with the high priestess, it's still the magnitude of it couldn't be prepared for on either end of the spectrum, like the goodness of this power surge as it's set to express itself in the earth, nor the impact against any aggressors or opposers of it could be prepared for. Like you wouldn't even know how to take cover from an Eight of Wands, which is why you should want to be rendered someone that is inhabitable for the energy force to surge within you or merge with you than to be an adversary of it, you know, like that type of vibe. That's what I'm getting. Under the devil too, like, yeah, it's like something that it's like something that's very angelic for some is very aggressive and adverse for others. And then the high priestess is here. It's like, it's just spiritual order. I see something else too with the high priestess and this baby. It's like, I hear like, it's not even a hear, it's like feeling the energy. And of course I know this well, like you don't want to mess with mama, you know, mama bears babies type of thing. Like, you know, don't mess with my kids type of thing. That's how I'm feeling. Like this energy here is facing a wrath in some way, shape, or form. Like almost an angry mama. You know, like you mess with my kids, you done messed up type of vibe. I ain't gonna dig into that too much, but that's interesting to me that I just felt that. But I guess when you think about it, like divine mother is the high priestess. It's like the mother energy of the divine is, I could imagine that it would be a bit fed up with how divine children are being, or have been being treated in the realm, mistreated, dare I say. Yeah, so that makes sense. And turning energies almost into like scolded children, like now he just crying into his hands like a little baby, even though that wasn't the energy that was being projected when it was favorable to do so, you know. But it's like, you gonna get this ass whooping one way or another. Yeah, this was the ambition that was, you know, this was the ambition when it was favorable to do so. Lust, greed, territorial, aggressive, couple other things I could say about the Knight of Wands, like over ambitious, as a matter of fact, uninhibited passion, perversion, perhaps, wild stallion type of energy, just without self-control is the energy here. Oops. Well, that's the end of that. With the World card, yeah. Bringing that cycle to a close and bringing a reckoning for it at this point in time, which is probably the reason for the wounded warrior energy here with the Nine of Wands, for all of the exploits that occurred at this position, in this energy. And as I said, it's like maybe Mother Gaia, Divine Mother, Mother, Father, God, however you want to see it, Mother of the Universe, she said, it's time, that's it for that. That's it for that energy. So this is the beginning of a new cycle, of which all can look forward to in one way, shape, or form. You know, it's something that's being talked about incessantly. You know, it's particularly in the spiritual community, because it's just what keeps coming up, that it's time for a new experience of life now. Celestially, all the stars are aligning for it, and it's playing out in our natural world through our very own beings, that we are becoming new and whole and healed in unprecedented ways, and being affirmed to expel that energy without inhibition. And those that have been on the opposite side of that spectrum are being influenced to find their path back to light and life, as they so desire and have the will to do so. You know, it's like a mom, you know, where it's fair, it's balanced. You know, everybody ain't going to get a whooping just because some of the kids is acting up, you know, and perhaps, well, I don't know, because every mom is different, but the mother of this universe is a very fair one. And the rearing of the children is in the responsibility of growing them to be their most supreme. So you don't necessarily get rewarded for behavior that is unsavory, or else the conditioning is that that's okay, and that's the way to go. When there's a very clear message in the realm right now as to what is the righteous path holistically, maybe not specifically and individually, but holistically, what the righteous path looks and feels like and sounds like, and how it's produced and sustained. And remember, sustainable energy, and what it doesn't, you know, very, very clearly. So now is the time for the preservation of existence and creation, now and perhaps forevermore, for there to be a very distinct line of discipline, and also a dissemination of reward, as a good mother does, for good behavior, whatever good is. to you and for you. So yeah, I guess that's it. I guess that's that on that. And whatever the shift is occurring, it's happening exponentially and acceleratedly. Accelerantly? Is that a word? So what it comes down to is just like continuing to stay ready and prepared for however it gets to play out. Not anxious, not eager, just ready and available. This was an interesting one for me, I gotta say. Definitely was. But I hope something resonated for you. Happy Friday again. I will definitely be popping in tomorrow, and I may or may not even pop in on Sunday, given it is New Year's Eve, but we shall see how the spirit moves. In the meantime, stay safe out there, celebrate wisely, consciously, and enjoy yourself, but definitely be aware of your surroundings and the company that you are celebrating in. Don't forget to start now, focusing in on some affirmations to bring in the new year strong and powerfully. Never too early to start that off. Also never too late either, but to even just be in the mind frame of cultivating new beginnings, because certainly they are underway, and it may not be as it could be tomorrow for all we know that something new surges into your life, and it also may not be as definite as January 1st either, but just to be in the spirit of preparedness, of readiness for whatever may come or whatever opportunities may present themselves is most ideal, I would say. All right. But you knew that already, didn't you? This is just confirmation and affirmation. So take it as you will, in spirit and in truth. And until next time, as always, I'll leave you with peace.